So we're going to pull away from this hearing just for a little bit because we want to pivot over to CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane. He's joining us on the phone. Scott, you were there when Hunter Biden got up and rushed out of the hearing room with his attorneys. And as I understand it, his attorneys took questions outside of the room. He got up just as Marjorie Taylor Greene was about to speak. What did his lawyers have to say?
And I'm actually outside the hearing room now, and I say that, Emery, just to pardon the noise, because it's a bit of a antsy scene out here. His lawyers spoke, didn't take questions, but I did ask Hunter Biden why he was leaving at that moment. Why leave now? And he told me that he would testify if they let him. He told me the same thing walking in. He'd testify if they let him. And that really is the crux of this issue. The House Oversight Committee Republicans say Hunter Biden should be found in contempt of Congress because he didn't appear for a subpoena and a deposition December 13th. Hunter Biden has said consistently he will testify, but only if done openly in front of cameras, in front of the public. So he, in an unsolicited way today, came to do this in person. The committee didn't call him as a witness. After 30 minutes, he got up with his attorney, Abby Lowell, and bolted, and he is now gone from Capitol Hill.
So I know you've sort of listened in to the beginning of this hearing. Seems there's a bit of disorganization and a lot of sort of talking over. I mean, what's your take on this? I mean, for lack of a better word, sort of show that we're watching, because no matter what, maybe they're down to business here, but when you got cameras rolling and you're talking about politicians, you know everyone's putting on a bit of a show.
I've covered the House Oversight Committee for 20 years. You are seeing a very normal version of the House Oversight Committee. This is a committee that has broad jurisdiction and tends to pick up on the most politically hot-button issues they can find. And the theatrics are the norm, not the exception. They may be a bit enhanced today because the president's son is in the room and really has a good attendance on that dais today. I see every member up there. That's a rarity. But the tenor and tone is consistent with the House Oversight Committee. This will be a prolonged issue where they have amendments on each side. The Democrats are going to offer amendments that try to focus attention on Donald Trump. The Republicans are going to have attention that tries to focus things on President Biden, not Hunter Biden. This is going to go for a few hours, and it is going to remain theatrical.
Scott, so what happens now? I mean, Hunter Biden left. It was interesting to see numerous Democrats say that if there is an interest in hearing from him, why don't they swear him in right here, right now? I guess one or two, I don't know. Who were the Republicans that raised their hands?
I think one Republican raised
Yeah,
his hand.
I saw somebody, Mr. Moskowitz, said that there were one or two hands that were raised. But who were those Republicans? And given that he's willing to testify in a public setting, what happens now?
Yeah, this is a kind of a separate issue, Vlad. The Republicans on the committee, the majority committee members have said the protocol is you meet first behind closed doors for an interview, for a deposition, then you move to public hearings. That's the normal rhythm of Congress. That's the normal rhythm of congressional hearings. First you have a meeting, first you talk behind closed doors, then you shift to a public forum. And so now we're having kind of a different battle, aren't we, over process and principle more than the actual practicality of Hunter Biden's here. And Hunter Biden's team, I suspect, knows that and called their bluff. They have said throughout they'll do this publicly. They won't do it behind closed doors. They worry, they say, of being taken out of context or having his words weaponized if done privately. He wants a public forum. He offered a public forum today, but Republicans on this committee have been unequivocal. They want to do this according to traditional procedures, not in a different form.
All right. Scott, I think we have Nikole Killion also standing by for us. She is also a CBS News congressional correspondent. Hello? Do we have her, right? Okay, great. So, Nikole, listen, you were in a totally separate area. You were sitting in on the speaker's press briefing regular press briefing he has. The other hearing that's taking place now has to do with Secretary Mayorkas and whether or not he should be impeached. The border is a huge topic this campaign season, if you will. What did the speaker have to say?
Yeah, well, let's first start off with his reaction to Hunter Biden being here on Capitol Hill, which I asked him about, and I asked him whether or not Hunter Biden's appearance changes the calculus at all for House Republicans in terms of trying to move forward with holding him in contempt of Congress, which is why this hearing was taking place today as the committee marks up a report and resolution over this. And what the speaker said is, yes, I have heard that too, that there is a Hunter sighting. And he said that he does believe that the House Oversight Committee should continue to move forward, that House Republicans should continue to move forward with holding him in contempt of Congress, because at the end of the day, he still defied that congressional subpoena back in December when he was asked to be deposed behind closed doors. As we know, Hunter Biden has made clear, as have his attorneys, that he is willing to cooperate, he is willing to testify, but only in a public setting. So whether or not that influenced his decision and his calculus today to show up certainly remains to be seen, but it will not, at this juncture, stop Republicans' efforts to try to move forward with these contempt proceedings and ultimately a resolution that could end up on the House floor.
So one of the things that Republicans are accusing the Secretary of, Nikole, as you know, is lying to them. What specifics have they offered?
Well, this is with respect to Secretary Mayorkas, and of course, they feel that the Secretary has really not upheld the laws with respect to enforcing security at the border, that he has fallen short, that it has been a dereliction of duty on his part in terms of continuing to see a record number of migrants flow into this country. And so that has been the main concern of House Republicans. House Homeland Security Committee launched about a year-long investigation that culminated in a report and has resulted in now this first impeachment proceeding against the Secretary. But that being said, we saw the Secretary at the border just the other day continuing to defend the administration's policies and also trying to stay away from the politics of this moment, because as you know, he also is a key player right now in these border talks that are happening over in the Senate, which are critical to moving Ukraine aid and other foreign aid priorities with respect to the war in Israel, the Indo-Pacific, and other foreign and global crises. So from that standpoint, it is a bit of a dance that we're seeing with respect to House Republicans moving forward with these impeachment proceedings, while at the same time still potentially having to work together with him on a border deal if that comes together over in the Senate.